Okay, let's see how much amount of the delay is being reduced from the previous program that we learned. So we can start with the values that we have loaded in the timer. So these values were FF F2. The first step is to subtract F F F2 from the maximum value that can be reached in the 16-bit timer register. So yeah, when you will subtract FFF hex FFF2 from FFF hex, you will get F is actually equal to 15, so you will get 13, that is equal to D, and then the remaining bits will be equal to D0. Once you get this value, you need to convert this hex value into the decimal value, and we know that this is equal to 13 in decimal. Since the timer rolls over from FFF hex to 000 hex, so we need to add 1 as well. So 13 plus 1 is equal to 14. So timer actually counts from 14 times, or it runs at least 14 times. Let's say if the external crystal oscillator is connected with the 10 megahertz frequency, then we know that whatever the frequency is present, we need to divide it by 4. So when you will divide 10 megahertz by 4, you will get 2.5 megahertz frequency, and when you will take the reciprocal of it, you will get the value that is equal to 0.4 microseconds. So this is basically the clock period that is represented by capital T. Okay, so we need to actually multiply the value of this timer with the clock period in order to get the delays introduced by the timer, that is equal to 5.6 microsecond. Since this is the time required for setting the bit for low, and then we actually reload the timer, or for introducing the delay for setting the bit high. So for the complete time period, we need to multiply 5.6 microsecond by 2, which is equal to 11.2 microsecond. There is an other way for calculating the amount of the delay introduced using the timer. Okay, so let's say we have loaded the timer lower and the higher byte with the values F1 2 hex, and we want to see how much the delay is introduced. So you can see we will the first step is to convert this hex value into the decimal. So I will go into the mode hex, and here I will write the hex value and convert it into the decimal, that is equal to 61730. Okay, then since you know that FFF hex is equal to 65535 in decimal, and since the timer rolls over, so we will always be subtracting the decimal value of the timer from 65536 because 1 is added because of rollover. Okay, so let's just subtract this value 61730 from 65536. So 65536 minus 61730, you will get the value 3806. And then you need to just multiply with the clock period of the that you got, which was equal to 0.4 microsecond. We will multiply it by 2 again in order to get the complete time period. So the time period is equal to 3.0448 milliseconds. So in this way the amount of the delay introduced is calculated. Now let's see, if I want to introduce the 10 millisecond or the 20 millisecond delay using the timer programming, or if I want to generate a square waveform with the 20 millisecond time period, capital T is equal to 20 millisecond or any port, then let's see how we will be loading the timers register. Since the time period is 20 millisecond, so for the lower portion we need to have 10 millisecond, and same for the higher portion we need to have 10 milliseconds again. Because the external crystal oscillator, let's assume that is equal to 10 megahertz, so the counter counts up every 0.4 microsecond. This means what? We need to divide 10 millisecond by 0.4 microsecond. So let's just divide 10 into 1 raised to power minus 3. 10 millisecond divided by 0.4 into 1 raised to power minus 3 millisecond, you will get the value 25. Okay, 25 into 10 raised to power 3, because it was microsecond, so that is equal to 25,000 or 25,000 clocks. Now we just need to subtract 65536 this value from the maximum value of the counter, that is equal to 65536. So let's subtract this value, you will get 40536. This is the decimal value we need to count up, or we need to upload in the timers register. So let's just select the mode again, and the decimal value is 40536. Let's just convert it into hex. This becomes equal to 9E58 hex. So the timer 0 register lower byte is loaded with 58 hex, while the timer 0 higher byte is loaded with 9E hex. Alright, let's do another example. If we load the timer register with the 00 values, means the minimum values, then let's see how much what will be the frequency of the square waveform being generated. So let's say if we have loaded this value, the timer will roll up to F hex. It will start from 0, then it will start to 1 2 3 and up to so on until it reaches to ffx, and then again it will go to 6 5 5 3 5 plus 1, which is equal to 6 5 5 3 6. So the timer will actually count from 0 to 6 5 5 3 6 times, or the total number of the counts will be 6 5 5 3 6. If the external crystal oscillator is attached with the 10 megahertz frequency oscillator, then we will get the time delay of 0.4 microsecond for each tick. So let's see, 6 5 5 3 6 counts multiplied by 0.4 microseconds will give us the amount of the delays. So 6 5 5 3 6 multiplied by 0.4 into 1 raised to power minus 6, that is equal to 26.2144 milliseconds, and this time is only for the lower or the higher portion, so that's why I will multiply it by 2 again. This will give us the total time period, which is equal to 52 milliseconds, 52.4288 milliseconds. And if you take the reciprocal of it for calculating the amount of the frequency that you can generate or get, this is equal to 19 hertz approximately. So this is the minimum frequency signal that you can obtain using the 16-bit timer mode programming. Also you can do it with the or for the highest frequency of the signal that you can generate using this 16-bit timer programming. This is being assigned to you guys. Just load the timer with the maximum value that will be equal to ffff hex. So once the timer will roll over, you will get a single count for that, and then you need to convert it into the decimal and multiply it 0.4 microsecond, then again multiply it by 2 for calculating the total time period, and then take the reciprocal. Let us just know what will be the value of that frequency signal.